Welcome back. This video is an update to a previous video I did where I did some dyno tuning and testing on the 304cc big bore kit that I installed on my 2025 Yamaha YZ250FX. When I first installed the big bore kit along with the Get Boost module, I noted some issues with the idle and it seemed like a lean condition. During that first dyno visit, we confirmed that it was definitely running lean at idle along with some other inconsistencies in fuel delivery.
And like, see, I can already tell it's lean at idle. Yeah. It should be idling at like minimum of 0.9 Lambda.
I contacted Athena USA and they said that the kit that was originally listed to fit the 2024 and 2025 bikes was actually only for the 2024 and that they would need to get me a new Get Boost module from Italy. They sent me a new Get Boost module for the 2025 and I've installed it on the bike. From running the bike a few minutes here, I can tell that it's still lean at idle. I'm not really sure if it's any better than before, so now I'm going to take it back down to Mxworcz for another dyno session to see if we can sort it out.
Yeah, that's all idle at all zeros with the new Get Boost CCU. Way lean at idle. And then so put it in map. You got it mapped too? Alright. This is the map we used before with +10 at idle. Still lean. Maybe a tiny bit better than before.
The higher the lambda number, the leaner the mixture, and the lower the lambda number, the richer the mixture. As Justin mentioned in the previous video, we really want the idle around 0.9 lambda. We were initially going to start out using the standard map, all zeros, and go from there, but it was so lean we decided to start with the map we made during the first dyno session. This map has the fuel parameter maxed out at +10 at idle. Looking at it with that map, it might just be a bit better than before, but still very lean at idle. During the first couple of dyno runs, the engine started cutting out around 12,000 RPM. You can hear that in this run just before it hits the rev limiter. The issue is it's getting way too rich at high RPM now.
It didn't do that with the other module though.
This is the lambda graph. It's a little hard to see here, but the mixture is getting richer and richer from 6,000 all the way to 13,000. Lambda is down below 0.8 at 12,500, which is way too much fuel. Justin is making mapping changes as we go through the dyno runs, and you can see that yellow line represents the latest dyno run, and it's getting better. Ideally, you want that lambda line pretty flat across the RPM range. By the way, I'll share the map we ended up with a little later in the video.
It liked all the timing that I put in.
After a few more runs at full throttle and fine-tuning the map, Justin was able to get the lambda reading as good as it can be with the new Get Boost module. This is the lambda chart across the RPM range from 5,000 to 13,500. The light blue line is the new Get Boost module. The yellow line is the original Get Boost module. Ideally, you want this line to be pretty flat across the RPM range, indicating that fuel delivery is consistent. It is improved in that regard, although it's still too lean at idle, which is not showing here. Here's the horsepower and torque chart with the light blue line representing the new Get Boost module. Our main objective here was to dial in the fuel ratios, but it did pick up almost half a horsepower with peak at 46.96 compared to 46.23 before. Next, we did several half throttle runs to clean up the mapping in that zone.
I mean, I think the mapping is better overall in the new one. Like they've got the fuel curve smoothed out a lot better. It's just the idle is still not 100% good. I mean,
Here's the half throttle lambda chart with the new Get Boost module after all the tuning compared to the half throttle lambda chart with the original Get Boost module. The new Get Boost module is in light blue with the original Get Boost module in yellow, so it's somewhat improved at half throttle as well. This is the horsepower and torque chart at half throttle. We weren't really looking for power gains here, we were just trying to dial in the fuel delivery, but it went from 28.07 horsepower to 30.43 horsepower at half throttle compared to the original Get Boost module. Here's the map we ended up with. At high RPM and full throttle, we had to take a lot of fuel out and add timing to compensate for the richness of the Get Boost module in that zone. It was just the opposite at low throttle position. We had to add fuel and try to compensate for the lean condition at idle. The following day, I took the bike to the Ridge in Springville, Alabama to ride some single track and see how the bike performs. I rode for a little over 2 hours and didn't have any flame outs like before, so I think the idle is slightly improved, but that's with the fuel parameters maxed out. I'll share some of my overall thoughts on the 304cc kit if you're thinking about doing this on your YZ250F or YZ250FX. First, I'm very happy with the horsepower and torque gains, especially in the 5,000 to 9,000 RPM range. That's exactly where I like the power with my riding style. The hard parts in the kit seem to be very high quality. Everything fit like it was supposed to, and installation was no different than doing a typical top end on one of these bikes. The electronics, on the other hand, seem to need more development. In fact, at the time I'm making this video, they've stopped selling the kit with the Get Boost module for the 2025 and 2026 bikes. Hopefully when they start selling them again, they will get it more dialed in. Knowing what I know now, would I still do the big bore kit? The honest answer is probably not, and here's why. When I first heard about this kit, I was extremely excited about it because it promised a plug and play fueling solution with the Get Boost module without the need to buy a custom ECU. Various big bore kits have been sold for these bikes going back several years, but to really make them run right, you needed to buy a custom ECU and tuning, which could cost another $1,000 to $1,500 on top of the cost of the kit. This kit seemed like a bargain at $1,100 with the plug and play Get Boost module, but at this point I've spent about the same amount of money with the kit and 2 dyno sessions as I would have spent just buying a custom ECU from the beginning. And I'll still likely end up buying a custom ECU to get the idle sorted out. So in summary, if I could really buy a plug and play kit for $1,100, it would be worth it. But after what I've learned throughout this process, I would never trust just plugging in the Get Boost module and assuming that the fuel delivery is correct. So it becomes a minimum $2,000 project. The additional power is great, but I'm not sure it's worth that much. Once again, huge thanks to Mxworcz and Justin Terry for helping me dial in the bike. I highly recommend them. They're located in Milton, Florida. Justin does all kinds of bike work, specializing in engine builds and performance mods. I've included a list of Amazon items that I take with me to every race in the video description and in the comments. When you use my Amazon links, I may earn a small commission on eligible purchases. It doesn't cost you any extra, but it helps support the channel. Thanks for considering that. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. That really helps me out. Thanks for watching.